Okay.
In 1979, all the fathers of Nobel Prize winners were rounded up by United Nations military units, all right? And actually forced at gunpoint to give semen samples in little plastic jars.
Traced and scared. It's time to stop submitting to this tyranny. It's time to realize that we're being enslaved.
You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous.
Jerky in the cupboards there.
So what do you think he was doing? What has he done? From everything we've seen in the files, from other victims you've spoken to, from your own experience, what was that all about?
Well, you know, these criminals have many branches to their organizations. You know, apparently Bill Clinton used to run the cocaine coming out in and out of Arkansas. So I suppose where there's money, there's greed, there's, you know, a lot of politicians will get involved. And, you know, it seems very much like they were doing human trafficking, you know, of children, of organs, of adults, you know. There's a lot of money in that sort of thing. Like if people watch the movie The Island, like I was saying, I met Michael Bay at the New Mexico ranch. You know, that movie with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor. It's like people being born underground where they actually don't even know that there's a world out there. And unfortunately, it seems like this is what these bastards were doing, because there was definitely something underneath the island. It seems like there was something under New Mexico. You know, the ranch in New Mexico is between Dulce and Roswell Base. You know, Roswell and Dulce Base. So it's in a very strange area. It's also one of the biggest properties in New Mexico. Another interesting thing is that he bought it from the King family, and I can't remember the year exactly, but I was also told that he owned Oprah's network, and I did a bit more, and I was told that the network was called King's Network. And then I mentioned that on an interview, and then I did some research, and I saw that Oprah's network was owned by King's Productions, and Epstein bought this property in New Mexico from the King family. So it seems like they're all connected somehow. And it very much is, you know, I also met scientists on the island and in New Mexico. I didn't see any girls being trafficked to other men. It's quite clear that they were creating their own world, you know, their own. It's much like the movie the series Westworld, you know, where they would be able to create their own farm of humans. And, you know, that's another thing. Why were Epstein and Maxwell at the Queen's hunting lodge? What were they hunting exactly?
So could it just be hunting animals or birds, just pure hunting as a sport? So I think sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, like the Hunger Games. Apparently they could, you know, create their own world. Even like apparently Nicole Kidman's father was also involved in this sort of stuff. And he like committed suicide or died, and when they were after him, you know, also like in Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick died very soon after, you know, the movie came out. They obviously have been doing, you know, we know that things like this happen. It's just we didn't realize that the people that we trust in positions of power are doing these things.
So this is where it's really difficult, and I worry about muddying the waters first, anything that would be considered conspiratorial, I think now should not be dismissed like it used to be dismissed years ago. That's one of the big learning lessons that I've had.
How much did that cost? $5 million. Is that a lot? It's a small price to pay to cheat death.
Looking at the Epstein stuff, I've been going through everything, and oh my god. Bro, what are they doing? So, human cloning designer babies. Uh-oh, here we go. Sorry I can't make it. Did the cloning issue give you pause? I just, honestly, guys, I'm actually so glad that my mom isn't here to see this, because if she was, I would never hear the end of it. It would be over for me. It would be totally over for me. Like, I would just have to agree with her about everything. Because she's, apology time, exactly, yes. Apology time, this is nuts. I did reports on designer babies at school. There's a chance all this is bullshit to distract us? From what? Yes, and her heart couldn't take it. You're hearing I told you so for the rest of your life. I would be. And I'm back. I met Simon. Let's schedule a call. I can discuss any questions you might have. Attached is a document you requested. It's the, quote, use of funds spreadsheet and the designer baby and human cloning company. Oh my God.
Human. I mean, you're human, but you're not real. You're not like a real person, like me. You're clones. You're copies of people out here in the world.
Sends this horrible message that people can get away with crimes on this scale to kids, and nothing happens to them. As long as they're in bed with intelligence or organized crime or the right, billionaires, you have enough money. I mean, you can do anything you want, basically.
That is the takeaway. That certainly is the takeaway,
I have to go. He's taking a dump in a cab.
Something to drink? Jack?
Yes, please.
Straight up?
Thanks for coming on the show. And I spoke to you this morning and you said you and we're going to go into Gates and stuff because obviously a lot of people saw me and Rogan kind of did that little we had a little little fun argument about Bill Gates, who I don't know anything about other than I've read some articles about him, and and then Rogan was like, well, Bill doesn't have any reason, he has enough money, he doesn't want any more money. But as you know, whether it's George Soros or the Koch brothers or Bill Gates, billionaires often engage in social engineering. They have an ideology, they want to impact the world. Some of it is good, a lot of it isn't. So what's interesting is like we're going to all have to understand what Bill Gates and a lot of these people are trying to do. It should be transparent. And that was my thing with Joe. I was just basically like, listen, we all want to solve climate change, but if I said to you part of that was having a one child per family policy and you could never drive an SUV and we're going to put a cap on, the energy that you could consume, you might say, wait a minute, whoa, hold on. So we all agree nobody wants coronavirus. Everybody wants some way to prevent coronavirus, but it's the details, which is something that you're very good at. It's figuring out what the details are of these solutions.
No, mail order, okay? Clones don't wear these.
You had, like I say, the Gateses and the Kurzweils and the Schwabs pushing how wonderful it will be if we confuse humans with artificial intelligence. And then you've had Elon Musk. And Elon Musk came along and there were people in the alternative media that were calling him out as a transhumanist who was pushing the AI agenda. And then he bought Twitter. No, he was allowed to buy Twitter because they were saying, and it was true, the deep state controls Twitter and what can be said on it and who's allowed on it. Yeah, true. So that means the deep state had Twitter exactly where it wanted it, right? Oh, yeah. We're going to release the Twitter files just to show you. Yeah, the deep state controlled it. Okay. So why did they sell it to Musk then? Who was the self-proclaimed free speech absolutist? He's not, but he proclaimed it. And what happened as a result? I knew it was a scam when he bought it because I've been tracking Trump for years. Musk, well, Trump as well, but Musk for years before that. And I could see how his companies were ticking the boxes of the World Economic Forum agenda, and World Economic Forum is just a front for the global cult anyway. And from the moment he bought Twitter, allowed to buy Twitter, and turned it into X, there was this phenomenal transfer of perception of him by this alternative media. Suddenly he's one of us now. He's letting a few people in back, and they're all great. Yeah, it's wonderful. But then they announced that they believe in freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. That if it's lawful but awful, you'll find it very difficult to find it on Twitter X. And they start shadow banning those people who are calling them out and promoting those who are promoting the MAGA media agenda and the Trump agenda.
Have a slave race of people that will do the jobs, and then have this, kind of perfected race of people that gets to enjoy the benefits of. I mean, what do you think the picture looks like?
Well, really quick, I want to go back to my last point really quick, because, like you saying this had gone like underground. I really believe that, because something that Maria told me is that she heard Ghislaine and all of these people she was around say the most racist things. And I mentioned earlier that they were very supremacist, but they would not go to cities where they thought there were too many African Americans. They said the most racist
first
things
of all, I want
about these people.
Yeah, I want my human traffickers to be woke and political.
How many subscribers do you have?
Well, let's see.